So did you come with something specifically that you want to talk about, or did you just want to bask in the understanding that you've already accomplished? Something more? Something new?
The basking is beautiful.
Focus. 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 She doesn't want to, because she's doing what we've been telling her to do. You see, that's the point that we're making. Come on, talk to us about something meaty and important. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Don't you have something new? Don't you have a question? Don't you have something unresolved? Isn't there something that you want to fix in your life? Isn't there something that's gone wrong? Isn't there someone you want to change? Isn't there something about stuff that you need to do different? Isn't there something that you need to do different? Don't you want to be different than you are? Don't you want to get anything?
I did specifically want to ask something about amnesia. Is that in conjunction with something that happened, I went completely amnesic about it and remembered it last year.
Oh, we like that.
For the first time. And it's like, I had amazing parents. I mean, my father used to listen to...
We don't care.
Okay. I'm good with that. They're fine with it. They're in the vortex. They know.
I am a happy, amazing result of a lot of amazing things.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to us about the amnesia thing.
You've talked a lot about trauma. Something quite traumatic happened about a month after I got married. Two actually traumatic things. I completely blocked the one, like completely. And I was quite happy in that marriage. Thought it was a great marriage. Really loved the person. Best friends. Had the most amazing daughter with this man. I'm thinking really that one of the explanations is I had to forget just so I could get the daughter.
What do you think your inner being holds as memory about anything? What do you think your inner being remembers? Most important question we've ever asked you.
I feel like my inner being remembered knowing what this incredible,
your inner being remembers nothing.
Oh, okay, I see.
Your inner being does not have a brain used as a file cabinet like you think you do. Your inner being doesn't remember, and you don't either. We are all transmitting and receiving mechanism. And so your inner being is not remembering, your inner being is tuning. And what do you think your inner being is tuned to? You think your inner being is tuned to how you got to where you are? Do you think your inner being is even tuned to the what isness of what is happening right now? What's your inner being tuned to? Just take a guess. What do you think your inner being is tuned to? Your inner being is tuned to your vortex. Your inner being is tuned to the vibrational nowness of what's there, to the becoming of all of that. That's what your inner being is tuned to. So nothing that has been before is what your inner being is tuned to. Now here's an important question. How did this now that your inner being is tuned to, how did it come about? From past experience. So everything that you have lived equals what is now there, but this is the evolved, most forward part of it. You see what we're getting at? Your inner being is focused upon the leading edgeness of that which you are. Never justifying, never remembering, just tuned. Do you realize the importance of that? Can you feel how emphatically we are wanting you to feel that? Your inner being is tuned to the wholeness, to the bigness. We are not going to say completeness because that will never happen, but to the furthest, most expansion of that which you are. That's what your inner being is tuned to. So in a moment of really tuning to what your inner being knows about you, if you are really tuned to it, you will forget everything that has been before, except as it exists in the powerful now. Stay with us because this is so important. You've been listening to us for a while talking about what it's like when you reemerge into non-physical. Yes? You're following us? And we talked to you about how you leave behind all doubt and fear and everything that you've ever worried about, all problems, and what goes with you. You reemerge into the fullness of all that you are. Can you feel that that's what your vortex is? It's the fullness of all that you are. And that when you have practiced staying in your lane, when you've practiced caring about the way you feel, when you've fine-tuned your frequency so that law of attraction doesn't serve up for you those things that are not of a vibrational nature of who you really are. Can you see how not only would you forget them, can you see how you can be, Get ready for this. We really want you to feel it with the full impact that we're wanting to give it to you. We're ready to rock your world just a little bit. Can you feel how it can help you to forget who you've been? Wouldn't it be a wonderful thing if you could forget who you've been and only be the magnificent results that you now are? Jerry and Esther met a woman who was a teacher of language, and Jerry had he'd spent time in his youth on a circus, and there was a little boy who went from tent to tent to tent to tent to tent. And during the 2 years that Jerry was with this troupe of people from all over the world who were speaking all different languages, this little boy learned many languages. He was fluent with everyone. He was fluent with the clowns who came from Italy. He could speak all of their languages and understood what they evoked from him. It was the most amazing thing. And Jerry watched himself and others attempting to learn a different language than their native language, and he saw so many people struggling with it. And so Jerry and Esther visiting with this woman who is a language instructor, and she said, we have a process that works so well. Our class assembles, and it's usually about 20 people, and when they walk in, we assign all of them a new name and a new place of birth and a new date of birth and a new occupation, and no one in the room knows any different. Everyone is new as they come together in this room, and those who follow through with that and will really play that game of re-identification learn language 5 to 10 times faster than those who bring their old prejudices about themselves to the classroom. Now, it really isn't as easy as what we just said, because it took nearly a week for them to learn their new identity. They didn't even start learning about language or words until they had accepted the newness of who they were, and many of them were not willing to do it. They started with a far larger class. They were not willing to do it. It was only those who were really willing to give up their identity, their prejudices against themselves, their habits of thought that were in the way, that were preventing them from being new in this moment, like their inner being is new in this moment. You often speak of children and how formative they are, how this is when their brain is having its most growth in those early years, and we say there's no reason for it not to be exactly like that for you today. Your now is as powerful as the now of anyone who has ever lived, you see. And the only thing that keeps it as being as powerful as any now that you've ever lived are the habits of thought that you've dragged from the past into your now, which no longer have relevancy as far as your inner being is concerned. And so the more you hold to the past and the more you try to explain where you came from and who you are, the more you separate yourself from who you really are, from who your inner being knows you to be, because your inner being doesn't remember when you were afraid as a child or when you were guilty as a teenager. Your inner being doesn't remember any of those things. Your inner being doesn't remember anything. Your inner being is only active in your now. And you know what your inner being is actively focused upon? The relationship between where you are right now and what your vortex is. That's the sweet spot. That's the only thing that your inner being is focused upon. And when you focus otherwise, to some degree or another, you diminish the power of who you are now. Don't you like knowing that? Don't you like knowing that? And so those who know you, much of the world that you live in is not understanding what you have just now come to understand. But consider this, most of them are not that interested in you anyway. Really. And if you will be less interested in trying to get them to understand who you were, and more interested in letting them take you on as you are now, how do you want to be in the world now? How do you want to be in the world? Do you want to be uplifting or criticizing? It's an easy question, isn't it? How do you want to be in the world? And what you will begin to notice is they will perceive you as you perceive you. They will perceive you as you perceive you. You cannot use your words of explanation to counteract how you are projecting in this moment. All of your power is now. Now couple that, oh, and you received that well. We felt you do it. Couple that with how your inner being feels about you. Now add to that who your inner being is and what your inner being knows, and feel the energy that creates worlds flowing through you, all focused upon you and your powerful now. Is it any wonder that your moments are more laced with wonderful things, that more wonderful people are coming into your experience, that you're happy and more lighthearted, that you can accomplish a lot more with a lot less, that life is getting easier and easier for you, that the things that you've been asking for are flowing into your experience, that effort is a sort of word that no longer applies to you, that ease and flow is the way it feels to you, that a sense of worthiness is the way you know yourself to be, that you feel blessed because the universe is showing you how many ways it can shower these blessings upon you now that you've lowered your umbrella and are no longer shielding yourself from the goodness that you've already put into your vortex that is showering down all around you. Don't you love being in this physical body? Don't you want to feel about this moment in time the way your inner being feels? Isn't it good to know about yourself what your inner being knows about you? Don't you love knowing that every aspect of your body, every cellular part of your being, the trillions of cells, don't you like knowing their connection to source energy and the dance that they are doing, the harmonic dance, just like the orchestra that we were talking about? Do you know that the vibration of your liver has a different frequency than the vibration of your gizzard? Esther was 12 before she knew she did not have a gizzard. Every time her uncle saw her, he would say, "Come here, let me check your gizzard." He'd check in her neck somewhere. Esther would say, "How is my gizzard?" "Your gizzard is very, very good," he would tell her. The vibrational frequency of your body is varied, and your source is aware of all of that. And when you tune to the frequency of joy and happiness, then you allow well-being to radiate through. We've enjoyed this conversation immensely. Yes.